wanted to first ask you about how you got into this industry, the writing industry, the media industry. Is it something that you wanted to do from a young age? Is it something that you kind of fell into? How did you get started with that? And how did that come about? How did you get started in all this?
Yeah, I did want to do it. That's 13 is pretty young, 14 years old.
Yeah.
Junior high, and I'd go to the Laker games, and initially I wanted to be on the court with the Lakers. I wanted to be catching passes from Magic Johnson, but I quickly realized that probably wasn't in the cards once everyone else hit their growth spurt, and I was still stuck at 5'1", 5'2", 5'3". So I didn't go until way later, and I decided, okay, I probably need to find another pathway to just be in the forum. And I wound up, I thought maybe I wanted to be Chick Hearn or Jim Murray, the great writer for the LA Times. Chick Hearn being the great legendary play-by-play broadcaster for the Lakers.
Yes.
And I just figured I'll start that path. High school paper, college newspaper, and I had some great internships at the LA Times and the Washington Post along the way. And going to a school like Northwestern really helped set me up, both in terms of the networking and the preparation to enter the field at a young age. It's funny, I saw Juwan Howard here. He was watching his kid play for the Magic, and I thought back to covering him. My senior year was the freshman year of the Fab Five at Michigan.
Oh, wow, nice.
When I was a senior at Northwestern. And then I covered them at Michigan their sophomore year when I was at Chicago Sun-Times. My first job was covering college football and college basketball, Illinois, and the whole Big Ten. So I did like 5 or 6 of their games, including the Final Four and the championship game and the infamous Chris Webber timeout. And then our paths crossed again in Washington when he was on the Bullets, as they were still called, and so was Chris Webber.
Yep.
And kind of at the end of his career, I just showed him a picture of us that was taken in the locker room when I was interviewing after they won the championship, LeBron's first championship, but it was also kind of the cap. No one thinks of it as the cap of Juwan Howard's career, and the only championship that was won by any of the Fab Five members, by the way. Didn't play a big role on that team, but he was still there, and they valued. He kind of was Udonis Haslem before Udonis Haslem.
Yes.
He was kind of the guy who was around for his experience.
Yep.
And then, so it was just, we just had a great conversation catching up for something that goes back from 1991. I remember the date. It was November 9th, 1991. We were at Michigan. Northwestern was playing Michigan in football, and the Fab Five had an open scrimmage afterward. So I went and checked it out, and that was the first time I was around any of them. And you still see and feel them impacting basketball world. You still hear Jalen Rose giving his thoughts. He's still really prominent, and so that's coming up on 3.5 decades later. And so we're doing a lot of reminiscing down there courtside.
That's awesome. Yeah, those guys have had a significant impact on the basketball world, the industry as a whole. And now you kind of see the next generation coming up, and you see some of that influence they had. Their time in Michigan, and like you said, Juwan Howard being a pros pro, and we've seen other players like Haslam come through and do the same thing for their teams. So, yeah, that's an incredible experience. I'm sure they just spending the time around those guys really kind of taught you a lot. I'm sure it was a special time for all of you getting to form those connections, and it's really cool that Summer League provides the opportunity for guys like you to kind of catch up and reminisce and kind of think about those old days you've been together. So that's a really cool opportunity.
Yeah, that's been the best part, is seeing people like Alex McKechnie, who's most people don't know his name or his role, but not sure what the specific title is, but when he was with the Lakers, he was I think the athletic performance coordinator was his title, but he does physical therapy and really has some innovative ways to help athletes overcome injuries and prevent injuries and to maintain flexibility and things like that. That's a 20-year relationship from when he joined the Lakers full-time in the 2003-04 season. But prior to that, he kind of first entered the NBA in 96-97 when Shaq was on his first year with the Lakers. That would have been Kobe's rookie year or two.
Yep.
And Shaq had a really bad groin injury, or like a hernia-type injury, and they thought he was going to need surgery that would have kept him out for the rest of the season. And his agent found Alex McKechnie, and they worked with him and rehabilitated him, and he was able to get back in time for the end of the season.
Nice.
So, his kind of connections with the NBA and some of these personalities goes back to then, and our connection goes back 20 years. And I really value those, and I love walking around, and I just walk around this building to see who I run into, and
yeah.
chances are it's somebody that I've known for a couple decades or more, which means I'm getting old.
No, I would say that. Maybe you're a little more experienced. Maybe you see some things. Yeah, yeah. It's true. I mean, you've seen a lot, you've done a lot, so I think it's pretty accurate.